Right. This is going to be a recurring series called Philosophical Debates, and today's argument will be on the ontological. So, the ontological was made by Anselm and is an argument to try and prove the existence of God and is a priori deductive. So what that means is if the premises are true, then the argument must be true and it's based on knowledge alone. So I want you guys to think for a second in your mind. I'm going to give you a minute. What's the best thing you can think of in your mind? Okay, that's long enough. If you got the answer God, you're very much correct. Anselm, and I obviously believe this as well, Anselm believes that God is the best conceivable being that has ever been and will be. So now there are two ways something is in the universe, and that is you thinking. So it's in your imagination and it's real. So Anselm argues that if God is the greatest thing, conceivable being you can think of in your mind, a greater God would be in reality meaning God exists. So that's Anselm's argument. So let me repeat that. So something is greater in reality than in the mind. God is the greatest conceivable being to ever exist. God in your mind is lesser than God in reality, meaning God in reality is the best thing. He exists. Now, this argument was made many years ago, hundreds, and there has been many criticisms, and I am going to bestow criticism that Garnello, his fellow monk, at the time actually pointed this out, and it is that you could just apply this to anything really. So let's say he put forward the perfect island argument. So you have this island and it's the best island you can think of. You can chill out in the sun in the morning and ski down the mountains. At night it has a gym, it has a hammock, it has a log cabin. The best in your mind, and obviously something in reality is better than your mind. So that means it has to exist to Anselm. But cleverly Anselm actually denied this and said it only works for necessary beings. A necessary being is a being which can't not exist, so it has to exist. Otherwise, all the contingent beings would not exist. So contingent beings are made by necessary, and the contingent being is it doesn't have to exist. So like me or you. Does that make sense? Okay. So another actual criticism on this is by, I think, Bert Russell, and that is, or William Paley, or no, it's Immanuel Kant, sorry. And that is, sorry, it's all off memory right now, so I might be getting some stuff wrong. And Immanuel Kant said, existence is not a predicate, meaning, the definition, what's the definition of God? Omnibenevolent, all-loving, omnipotent, all-powerful, transcendent, immanent at the same time. Existence is not the part of the definition of God. Does that make sense? So why are we making existence a part of God's description? It just doesn't make sense, because it's faith alone, and existence is not part of God's definition. And if we're giving definitions to things like God, it's just out. You can't really do that. I'm kind of waffling right now, sorry. So that's on my personal opinion on the ontological argument, is that I agree with Garnello and Immanuel Kant, and I think it's a stupid argument, and you can never prove the existence of God through premises which lead to an absolute truth a priori, and deductive argument, meaning knowledge alone, not experienced by the five senses, which is an inductive argument. I hope you enjoyed this philosophical episode. I think, as I said before, this will be a recurring series. We'll see how it does on YouTube. Philosophically, gonna bow.